With that, I got to ask you if you can do the monologue from End of the Road. You know that, like...
Baby. I know I did you wrong.
I don't remember it. All I can remember is Wanye Morris going crazy when he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. At the end of the road. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Welcome to This Broken Mixtape, the podcast that rewinds and presses play on the soundtrack to your life. I'm Jeff Wu.
And I'm Justin Lee.
As a stand-up comedian, singer-songwriter, TV host, and chef, Alconcel, aka Big Norm, is a man of many talents. Drawing inspiration from his Filipino and hip-hop roots, his comedy routine offers hilarious observations about race relations, multiculturalism, and pop culture. We sat down with Big Norm to discuss what his favorite R&B singers and culinary dishes have in common, why he's quick to shut down the cultural appropriation accusations against Bruno Mars, and how a recent trip to Taiwan inspired him to write a one-man show.
This week on the show, we have comedian Big Norm Alconcel. Welcome to the show, Big Norm.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. We had a couple of false starts, but we're finally here.
We made it, man. It's been a crazy week.
Yeah, for sure. So, to give people some context, we threw This Broken Mixtape through a show a couple of weeks ago at the Dupe Shop, and it was with Running at the Mouth crew with Aisha Brown and Marito
Antonio Lopez.
Yes. And then, of course, you performed as well, and you were great. So we will have some video footage of that coming up on our site, so look out for that. But first off the bat, how did you get started in comedy?
Real simple. I was on set on this comedy musical web series called Prison Dancer. Ron Jossel, amazing Filipino Canadian stand-up comedian, was also on set. Someone told him I was funny, mentioned, hey, he should be a comedian. And Ron's like, oh, are you funny, Norm? Tell me a joke. Told him a joke. He called Yuck Yucks. It was like, you're on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that's in 2 days. Went up, did great, got the bug. I've been doing it ever since.
This is I think it's on your YouTube, but this is like the first appearance. I think you put it up there, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And so you prepared that in 2 days?
Well, I had like a set bar conversation routine.
Okay.
Where I would talk about how every race and culture has, speaks their own language, more so they speak their own body language. Furthermore, I noticed that every race and culture had their own specific bobblehead movement. Mm-hmm. Let's call it a racial bobblehead. And in conversation, I would just find out, the bobblehead of each culture and each race within conversation. And I had like a good 10 minutes just off of that alone.
Okay.
And, well, it was a stretched out 10 minutes.
Right.
Because it was like the beginning of my career. And yeah, I wrote that joke for like a good 2-3 years and kind of had to put it to rest because Fluffy Iglesias.
Oh, yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah.
He came out with a similar joke about Latinos, blacks, and whites having a neck movements. Okay. So it was very similar.
Yeah. But after your bit.
Yeah. So that that was my first joke ever. Right. But that's when I learned that that's part of the game. You know, somebody puts a joke up before you do, even though you came up with it first. It's theirs.
And especially with like a massive following like his.
Exactly.
I mean,
right. I can't dispute it, even though I have it on YouTube. Like, look, I've had this. It's my first joke. Put it up like the day after I did it.
Right.
But doesn't matter.
up until that point, I mean, you said you were on set. You were acting?
Nah, I mean, I've done a few like background gigs. I've done some like extra shit. Like that was my first ever like theater acting whatever role.
Okay.
Because it was originally a stage play, and then they got funding to turn it into a web series.
Okay.
But it just so happened to be a musical. So it was a musical web series called Prison Dancer. And I played a Filipino jail inmate named Hookups. And I was in love with Manny Pacquiao. Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, it's funny. I was going to mention Manny later on, but okay, let's go to that right now. So I think all Asians have this thing where there's not a lot of visible Asians in pop culture really represented, right?
We got half of Rob Schneider.
Right. For Filipino, okay.
I got Rufio from Hook.
Yeah.
Rufio's still riding
Right?
it out, though. You mentioned Rufio. People are still on that, for
Right?
sure.
He was dating Ashley Banks in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so
Yeah.
shout out to Rufio. We had half of Enrique Iglesias.
Oh, I didn't even know he was half.
Yeah, his pop's knocked up a Filipino lady.
Okay.
We got half of Batista. You wouldn't know that Batista is half Filipino.
Really?
But his calves are full. Those are Filipino calves, for sure. We got half of Bruno Mars. Okay. You know, that's the singing half. The short half. The hair is all the Puerto Rican side. Who else? We got Nick Lachey's wife, Vanessa Manillo. But
Right.
everyone's just like, who? Right? And half of Jennifer Hudson, I think. And then we got Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We got Manny Pacquiao, who's great until that post-fight interview when he starts talking, and they're like, "Manny, how do you feel about the fight?" Well, I want to thank my countrymen and the Philippines and thank you to Jesus. He's a good opponent. Shut up, Manny! You're embarrassing us.
And earlier you mentioned Bruno Mars. So you've lately you've been like pretty outspoken about the whole controversy. A lot of people have been saying that he's culturally appropriating black music, black culture. And tell us what your thoughts on that, and why you feel otherwise.
I mean, I understand cultural appropriation. To say that Bruno Mars is cultural appropriating, for me, was ridiculous. Because I looked at first the people that started the culture, the leaders of the culture, the people that helped shape the culture in the past that are still at the top of the game, like the Quincy Jones, the Stevie Wonders, the CeeLo Greens, Damian Marleys. Like, I look at these guys who have all worked with Bruno Mars, Jay-Z, Kanye, Beyonce, the leaders of the culture that these people are saying Bruno Mars is appropriating. These leaders of the culture are co-signing Bruno Mars by saying, hey, let's do music together. Write music on my album. An album that's part of the culture that these people are saying you're appropriating. I want you to write music on this. I want you to perform. I want you to do, let's collaborate. If these leaders and these leaders of the culture are saying you're good, how is he being a cultural appropriator when the people that lead the culture are giving him the pass? If he gets the pass from them, who are they to? The Quincy Jones said he's good. Stevie Wonder said he's good. Leave the man alone. He's the wrong guy. I understand cultural appropriation. People say, oh, Justin Timberlake, cultural appropriator. You know what? Timberland, leader of the game. You know what I mean? Pharrell, Neptune's leader of the game. He works with this guy. He helps create culture. Like, people need to chill.
I mean, the way I see it is culture appropriation really, I would only mention that if that person really doesn't have an appreciation or respect for where that music is coming from. So all music is black music. All music, great music, was created by black people. And I think has been sort of popularized by a lot of white people. Elvis Presley is kind of the main example of that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that when you get somebody who, let's say they're doing music that quote unquote to this point mostly produced by black people, like hip hop. And if you're taking it back to like, what is that, like 18, 19 years ago when Eminem really became like probably the most popular white rapper of all time.
Yeah.
You know, other than the Beastie Boys, but for a solo act. And I think like in that sense, that guy grew up in Detroit. It didn't seem like he was trying to emulate any sort of culture. It seemed like he was raised in that environment. He had a deep appreciation, respect for the music. I don't think that's cultural appropriation. I mean, if people think otherwise, that's fair. But in Bruno Mars's case, you can tell that he has a respect for where it comes from. Like he like studied all the greats, right? Like
Exactly.
Yeah. So
And everybody says that, oh, he's this cultural imitator. Da, 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 da. He's not original. He's just this glorified tribute artist. Blah 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 blah. You didn't hear anybody complaining when Robin Thicke and Pharrell came together and did a Marvin Gaye track, you know, pretty much a Marvin Gaye tune. You didn't hear certain people going nuts when old tracks were bastardized, when turned and remade into a fucking pop song. Like, my thing with Bruno is he didn't make the music worse. If they make the music worse, if he takes the genre and hacks it, then yeah, fine. You're a fucking hack. You're a piece of shit. You're a cultural appropriator. You're taking the culture and fucking it up and not showing any appreciation. But that song, Liquor Store Blues with Damian Marley, is a sick song. Freaking that song that has him sounding like Locked Out of Heaven. He's sounding like The Police. He sounded like Sting. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like, boom, get him, Bruno. Fucking sick. That song kills me every time I hear it because I'm like, yes, Bruno, you're talking about wanting to get in that pussy. I'm locked out of heaven for too long. Just a tip. But yeah, man, like he makes good music.
yeah.
Right. And everybody can hate that Uptown Funk. When was the last time somebody made a good funk song outside of the funk era? Tell me.
Yeah. And
When was the last
for
time?
it to be like a massive hit, like just
Song of the year.
yeah, it's crazy.
How about Fuck You? See me driving around town with the girl I love. Like that genre. So that soul, that Motown soul. Like, boom, Bruno Mars killed it.
Yeah.
What else we got? What's another genre he went into? He went into fucking New Jack Swing. All right? Killed that shit. Finesse is my joint.
Yeah.
What else we got? He can go that Hawaiian ukulele sound with freaking the Lazy Song. I just wanna lay in my bed. Like, yo, he made that song may be corny as shit, but yo, this guy knows how to make a goddamn hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The motherfucker live. There's Bruno Mars. There's not many of him. There's only one Bruno Mars. There's only like one Filipino, like a half a Filipino guy out there. Oh, I forgot Eric Spoelstra and Jordan Clarkson, half Filipino. Yeah, let my guy go, man. Let him go. Let him be, please, people. Is Bruno. He's not culturally appropriating. He's culturally appreciating. He's fucking talented. And if you think he's like, here's another thing that people need to know. Filipinos created the karaoke machine.
Did they?
The karaoke machine was invented in the Philippines.
That makes
karaoke
sense.
is a Japanese word,
Yeah.
but the machine itself was created in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You ask any Filipino in their household if they have a karaoke machine or a magic mic, guarantee 99.9% they will
Yeah.
say, yes, we do. Or my mom has it at home. Whatever. It's part of us, part of our culture to sing covers, to sing other people's music, to sing other people's shit. As a country that's been colonized by 4 different colonizers in the past 500 years, it's part of our culture to assimilate to other people's culture and to borrow other cultures because they're forced upon us. And now, as one of the most widespread diasporas in the world, as a result of the nannies being, shipped around everywhere, and then
Right.
we are one of the most widespread diasporas in the world.
So let's go back to the whole karaoke thing. So was that part of how you kind of got into music and growing up? Every Filipino I know is like very musical, or they come from a musical family. What kind of music was being played around the house when you were a kid?
I grew up in a strict Seventh-day Adventist home.
Okay.
So the music I was listening to was whatever my sister was listening to, because I have a sister that's 3 years older than me. So whatever she listened to, plus whatever my older cousins listened to, top 40 radio, you know, Tarzan, whatever Tarzan Dan had on the hit list, you know, when 640 was a radio station with music. I started listening to music around, like, by myself, like, choosing music. When I really started to fuck with Boyz II Men and Jodeci.
Yeah.
And All For One. I was this R&B boy band junkie. I don't know what it was, but like I would sit in my room, try to mimic every ad lib and every riff. You know, I would try to sing like them.
With that, I got to ask you if you can do the monologue from End of the Road. You know that, like...
Baby. I know I did you wrong.
I don't remember that. All I can remember is Wanye Morris going crazy when he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm at the end of the road. Oh my God. Oh my God. Get me out of this, baby. Like, I miss the days of a good, like,
yeah, these runs.
Possessed riff, like crazy ad lib.
Yeah, no one does that anymore.
Nobody does that no more. Nobody cares for that. They you know, because people used to be amazed by another person's singing skill.
Yeah.
But now people want to sing along as opposed to just listen and watch. And when you got somebody going, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, I can't sing along with you, man. Give me something simple. Give me a little T-Pain. Shout out. I could do that. But yeah, I would sit there and mimic Cisco, Casey, friggin' Bobby Womack. I always wanted like a raspy voice because I had like this clean choir boy voice. I used to sing in the choir. They would always make me sing solos in church. I guess I had like a little choir, like altar boy voice. Very sweet and crispy, like a little, so angelic. Then one day I was like, man, I wish my voice had some scratch, some rasp.
Some
like
Bobby
Casey, some Bobby Womack, some Donny Hathaway, a whole, you know. So I started smoking weed.
And you got it.
Now I got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
And that brings
who's
up...
that? Who was that? Come on, you guys listen to R&B? Did you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I don't...
Here, I'll give you one more time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Come on, who does the ooh, yeah?
I can hear it, but I couldn't.
I can't place it. Give us a hint.
And you know, and you know, and you know. It's fucking Casey, my guy. Okay, who's this? Who's this? You ready for this, Casey? Yeah, yeah. Ooh, that don't.
Okay. Well, you just gave it away.
Yeah. Cisco. Come on, guys. Step your R&B ad-libs game up, man. You got to know your trademark ad-libs.
I want to bring up singing faces, though, because, like, you know, when you were doing the show at the Dupe Shop, I was like, this guy's got one of the best singing faces ever. You know, and, like, when you said you were practicing, like, as a kid, were you also practicing in front of the mirror for the face? The face is so important, by the way. Like, this guy...
I used to hate my face because... I would practice like looking in the mirror trying to get like R&B sexy man face like I'm Nokio from Drew Hill. I'm fucking with the guys from H-Town. Trying to look cool, but I was like, man, why are you trying to be all sexy and shit, Norm? just there's nothing like seeing somebody sing with stank face. Yeah. Because you know that's when music has taken all inhibitions away and they don't even give a fuck what they look like. They're just stank like wow. And like that face they got that nasty frown. The eyebrows are all crunched up, looking like a pug and shit. Nostrils is flaring. You're just punching the fucking out and just, hey you, you're gonna love me. Yeah. Woo, you need that motherfucking ugly face or you won't hit those fucking notes. You need the faces.
Yeah.
Because that just, I don't know, man. It helps you hit that note that much better when you're not, I don't know, when you just scrunch your face a certain way. I don't know what it is, man. So like ever since I started to notice, when D'Angelo would do it, when Boys to Men, KC especially, the motherfucker had to wear sunglasses half the time because his eyes were bugging out because he was singing so hard.
Yeah.
He didn't want to look so crazy, so they would always wear sunglasses. But like natural stank face is one of those things that happens when you sing with soul.
Yeah.
Right.
And you do a lot of that in your crew, running at the mouth.
Hell yeah.
You do most of the hooks, well, all the hooks basically, right? For those songs.
A good portion of the hooks. I have.
For those of you who don't know, Running at the Mouth is really like a hip hop comedy collective. They do sort of like jokey kind of songs in the genre of hip hop, R&B, and I feel like you kind of play that up, the face when you're doing those hooks on those songs.
You know what? I do play it up a bit because with me, when you look at me, you see this little short, fly, chubby Filipino guy, crazy style, super swaggy with a gap tooth smile that aligns his chakras. I'm a walking oxymoron. My name's Norm. I call myself Big Norm. I'm little, but I'm far from normal. I'm the exact opposite of that. And on stage, I guess that adds to the fact that I'm an oxymoron.
Yeah, works to your advantage.
Yeah.
When did you get into like hip hop? What were some of the earlier like hip hop MCs and records that you were listening to?
Most definitely Nas Illmatic. I thought AZ was Nas at first, because I first heard
The
Life's
Firm.
a Bitch.
Yeah.
Visualizing the realism, life and actuality, fuck who's the baddest, the purpose that is based on salary, and my mentality is money orientated, and that's a dream for the piece that never made it. I heard that shit, I'm like, yo, Nas is crazy, only to find out that was AZ.
Right.
But after I heard that shit, I was like, what? Street hustlers can speak sentences with like 5-syllable words. That's cool as shit. Reza's out there, perpendicular to the square. We stand bull like flare. Escape from your dragon's lair. Like, yo, what the fuck is this guy's dropping science, son?
No one understood what RZA was saying, really, like ever. Yeah.
Chef Raekwon, Ghostface, no one did.
Yeah.
Now that I get old, I got older, and I was like, oh, I can go back and be like, oh, I get it now. I see with the slang, the many layers, but like, atomically, Socrates' philosophies. I didn't know who the fuck Socrates was. Hip hop taught me that shit.
Yeah.
Flee with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. Okay, funny lyric. That specific lyric. Lyrically perform armed robberies. Flee with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. I thought about it. I'm like, you're really going to perform armed robbery lyrically? Imagine running into a bank and be like, everybody, this is a stick up. Now get up. Give me that money, honey. Successfully robbing a bank with just lyrical agility. It's just like, no guns necessary.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm not shooting nobody. I'm just lyrically performing this armed robbery right now with rhymes. But possibly they spotted me.
It's interesting you bring up the Wu, because I was thinking the other day that Running at the Mouth is kind of, in a way, like the Wu-Tang Clan. You've got, a bunch of comedians, solo comedians that make up this crew. And, the leader, Marito, on the Wu side, you've got RZA. Those two, the commonality there, and I'm sorry, Marito, but is like, the lisp, right? They both have like, sort of a lisp. And then, if you put yourself in that, who would you be? What would be your respective Wu member?
I'm either Raekwon.
Yeah, I was thinking, because you're a chef.
Chef Raekwon. Or Ghostface Killer.
Okay.
So that's who I embody.
Ghost was always
I
my
ain't
favorite.
you, God. I ain't fucking Golden Arms.
No one wants to be Golden Arms. Yeah, like, speaking of the chef, let's talk a little bit about your cooking. How long you been doing it? How'd you get started?
I went to school for cooking. All my uncles, my pops were chefs. So the family was forcing me to go to school. So I'm just like, let me do something just for now to get them off my back. So I just enrolled into chef school, culinary management at George Brown College. Fucking did my thing, cheated my way through it. I would give like weed to my professors.
You would bribe them with weed and to get like...
Dude, I walked into theory one time. I walked into theory class and I was like one of the last guys out. And the chef's like, "Come here, sir." I'm like, "Hello, chef. What's good?" He's like, he looks at me intensely. He's like, "Don't you dare come into my class smelling the way you're smelling. And not give me anything." I was like, "You motherfucker." I was like, "What you need, teach. What you need, I got you. Next time, I got you." It's like, you keep me happy, I'll keep you happy. I was like, all right. And I just come in every class, drop him a fucking half quarter.
Nice.
Just be like, "Here you go, teach. Enjoy. Primo emo." And I got me a 90 in that class.
Nice.
Food theory.
And so fast forward a few years, and you're doing these dinners now. What were they called? The weed dinners that you do?
The
Comedy?
Very merry dinner parties.
Right. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. I got one coming up 421 actually.
Okay. Is this a private affair? Or
It's a
anyone...
private affair.
Mm-hmm.
Just follow me at the Big Norm Show. DM me, and if I like you and think you're cool and you don't seem like a narc, then for sure I will send you the details, and you can come to my exclusive Speak Easy style cannabis comedy and culinary arts show.
And what kind of food do you normally serve?
Oof, themed. I do themed menus. Like one time I did a hip hop inspired menu for Biggie Smalls. We had it on March 9th, the anniversary of his death. And yeah, we basically took all the food references we could find within his lyrics and turned them into dishes. So like
nice.
a T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, what was great. We served a T-bone steak and cheese eggs slider with a shot of cannabis-infused Walter's grape. So a kind of cocktail. And we infused, obviously, both. And yeah, that event was called Food, Frank, and Dank. Frank White, obviously, King of New York. We did a chicken and waffle. We did Friday, a tribute to Friday with Chris Tucker and Ice Cube. That was a chicken and waffle. We tried to recreate Roscoe's chicken and waffles. I did one called Manila Munchies, where it's just all Filipino food. I've done a plethora of themed menus.
Let's actually talk a little bit about Filipino cuisine. Anthony Bourdain, some other people have said that they really feel like it's going to be the next big, food trend. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree? Do you support it? What?
As a result of Filipinos, like I said, being one of the widest spread diasporas in the world, and as a result of Filipinos being forceful in nature when it comes to giving you food, naturally people will start to understand what Filipino food is the more, they try it. And I feel like, once again, we're everywhere. The amount of people that are like, "Oh, I tried Filipino food from, a friend, somebody at work brought me some food," or I was at a Filipino party and I was eating all this food, whatever. So and there's a lot of restaurants popping up too.
Lately.
So, I look at Filipino food like, some people have called it Thai food's ugly cousin, but it's kind of an ugly duckling story where Filipino food grew up and damn, she's bad now. She looked good. She came to North America, got westernized, and boom. Now we understand the flavors. And even though I was younger, I didn't really enjoy Filipino food. But now as I'm older, I appreciate the flavor profiles and I get it now. I understand it.
Yeah, I felt that way about Chinese food.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially as
kind of
North
embarrassed
American
growing
kids.
up eating certain things, and it's just like, oh, this it's
Yeah,
kind of weird.
Do you guys
to have
ever
friends over.
feel
Exactly.
like we grew up I don't know if we grew up in the wrong generation, but you look at kids now and, taking Koreans as an example, everybody serves kimchi now. Any restaurant has kimchi in it. So it's like, but as a kid, I'd have friends over and open the refrigerator door after school and they'd be like, "Oh, what's that smell?" And I was kind of ashamed of my own culture. Now I feel like kids have it so easy because they're so accepting of everyone's culture, right? It's considered uncool to be, to rag on somebody for like, oh, that looks gross or whatever.
On the flip side, now that we're older, I look back and be like, man, that all my friends, like my white boy friends, when I was at their place, thinking like, oh man, I love pancakes and syrup, and I'm like, yo, that shit was pretty bland. Like, serving hot dogs and nothing for breakfast.
Yeah, craft dinner with chopped up hot dogs.
Actually, that's pretty good.
It's still good.
It's still great. Like,
not gonna lie.
That's its own thing.
As a stoner, like I'll eat anything, but like I love corned beef.
Yeah,
I'll eat corned beef out the can. Like,
yeah, I do
the corned beef key.
Yeah,
is the key to my heart. Shout outs to corned beef.
That's the first, believe it or not, that's the first corned beef shout out that we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, over the past, decade or so in your career, you've come across a lot of rappers. You performed on stage, off stage. You've talked to some of these rappers, hung out with them. So give us like some good stories of rappers that you've hung out with, ones that were kind of surprised you maybe, or ones that were just funny.
I was able to hang out with a lot of rappers through many different platforms. I used to work with a company called The Manifesto. Mm-hmm. I'm one of the founding members of the Manifesto Festival.
Nice. Shout out to Jesse Otaki.
Jesse Otak, Cyber Crib. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, so I was obviously with every artist that would come into town. I was handling all food, so whatever food was in their rider, I would rub shoulders with these guys just from making sure that they were eating properly. Mm-hmm. I was also a runner. I was just a vibes guy. As much as I was a culinary guy, I was a vibes guy. So I had a chance to like chill with Black Thought, cool motherfucker, DJ J Period, friggin' Kid Capri, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, a long list. So there's the people I've met through the Manifesto Festival. There's the people I've met through selling weed. Like I sold weed to Nas, Ludacris, T.I., Big Boy, from Outkast, freaking, oh man. I'm trying to think who I've met more. Did I meet more, rap artists through Manifesto, the hip hop festival, or through selling weed? I think weed might more trump Manifesto. Okay. And I was like, I'm still going with these guys, 11 years strong, still meeting more. I'm like, I think hip hop festival.
Any one of those guys, like you just have a funny story anecdote at all?
Mos Def. I didn't have any weed at the time, but I had weed cookies. And so I passed them on to him. And then I left. Then I found out that a week later, that same night, he eloped with, Socrates?
Yeah.
So his baby mother at the time, I guess still his baby mother, eloped with Mos Def. And they got married.
Right after the cookie.
The same night I gave him the cookies.
Oh.
And I'd like to think that my cookies helped in that pretty fucked up judgment move that he made.
Yeah. Are they still together?
No. Okay. That was null real quick.
Right.
But I'd like to think that I was partly responsible for that mistake that he made. Aside from that, T.I. said I was a really funny guy. Big Boy was really cool. He just walked by me, smelt the weed that I was smoking, and said, "You." This freaking security guard pulled me in as opposed to pushing me out. I was like, "What did I do?" Pulls me in. He's like, "All right, follow us." I was like, "Sick." Yeah.
So you were recently in Jamaica for the Cannabis Cup, and that kind of spiraled into this crazy story. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'd say about 2 years ago, I think it was 2016. Yeah, 2016, I was at the Cannabis Cup in Jamaica, and right after, I was there for work. I was doing some R&D. And then after that, I went straight to Taiwan. I was going to the Philippines to visit my pops. I haven't seen him in 10 years. And I had a layover in Taiwan. While there, they lost my luggage. I had 2 days to look around the city of Taipei. Then when I was leaving, I went to claim my bag, and they're like, "Oh, come with us. We found something in your bag." So I get there into the back area. They open up the bag. There's a pair of pants that apparently some dog sniffed out, and they asked me to empty a pair of pants. And in one of the pockets, like the little change pocket on top of the right hand pocket. They made me scrape out what was about 0.113766 or something like that. Like just 1.1 worth of marijuana crumbs mixed with lint, hair, paper, whatever. It was like disgusting. No one would smoke that. And yeah, they were like, "Where's the rest of it? Where's the rest of it?" I was like, No. There's nothing. Like, this is it. And they hit me with possession, and I was like, "Guys, I'm a legal medical marijuana patient. I work within the industry legally. I'm a marijuana chef. This is what I do. I work within this industry. You can't do this to me." And they're like, "Oh, you work within the industry? So you're a dealer? Trafficking." And then they hit me with possession and trafficking. I'm like, "Oh, fuck." While awaiting trial, they were supposed to put me in this detention center. But while filing me in and dealing with some paperwork, they accidentally put the wrong person into my cell. And it so happened to be the last cell spot in the whole detention center. So they were full. Mm-hmm. So they're like, they offered me free bail. They're like, "All right, do you have anybody you could stay with?" I didn't know anybody out there. I had just met these guys out there, did their podcast. So I called one of the guys on the podcast back. I'm like, "Hey, bud. Hey, buddy. Pal, we've been friends for a long time now. I just met you yesterday. But yeah, do you mind if I stay with you until whatever?" So they gave me the go, set me off. I was in Taiwan until my fucking trial date, which was still in the air. 6 months later, I finally get a trial date. I was stuck in Taiwan for almost 7 months, basically waiting for a verdict. But while there, I was, I became a substitute English teacher, took over the comedy scene out there. I started tutoring one of the most renowned poets and eye doctors in Taiwan. This gay guy, Dr. Chen. Shout outs to Dr. Chen. He heard about my story through the grapevine. A friend of mine in Toronto, her mother was Taiwanese. She told the mother told her godson, which was the doctor. He's an eye doctor, so he totally understands the medicinal purposes or benefits of marijuana for eyes and glaucoma and cataracts and whatnot.
Sure.
So he was very defensive of my situation, especially as a medicinal marijuana patient. So he felt compelled to pay and help me and pay for my legal fees.
Wow.
Out of nowhere. And he was like, "And I want to give you a job too, so that you're not doing anything illegal out here to make money. You need to survive. So tutor me. I'm going to be doing this big conference in the Philippines, in Manila. Can you help me with my speech, with my English? You're a comedian, make it more entertaining. And also, it's hard. He found it very hard to understand Filipino English. Mm-hmm. So he's like, "Can you help me better understand?" I'm like, "The only way you're going to understand is if you actually talk to me with a Filipino accent, or if I talk to you with a Filipino accent, and you make me stop if you don't understand."
Yeah.
So for an hour, in our sessions were 2 hours. 1 hour English, regular English, another hour with me talking in a Filipino accent. So how's everything today, Dr. Chen? And I would just talk with a hardcore Filipino accent, and I would even play in character. I got a job writing slogans and memes and food puns for this Mexican restaurant called Pachuco.
Okay.
Another friggin' lawyer that I met from Wisconsin, this Jewish guy, had a restaurant called Pachuco, and he's like, "Hey man, I heard your comedy is funny. Would you be down to write some memes and some slogans for us for our next marketing campaign?" I'm like, "Cool." These are the 6 they chose. All right? Mexican restaurant in Taiwan. First one they chose. "We put the Juan in Taiwan. Boom. $50. Second one, Mexican food so authentic you want to build a wall around it. Boom. Number 2. Number 3, I can't believe they fucking like this one. It's so stupid, but in Taiwan they love cats a lot. Hello Kitty, cats are everywhere. Boom, they're cat crazy. So this one said, for all you cat lovers out there, in case you didn't know, tacos backwards spells so cat. So stupid. So fucking stupid. But they're like, we love this one. I'm like,
Come
oh
on,
my
man.
God. I wrote that one. That was like number 30. Like, I just need to fill this last one out. Fuck it. I'm just going to write this down. And they chose it.
I
couldn't
like
believe
that
it.
a lot.
That's brilliant. I don't know.
It's
You're playing up the other 2 ones, which were very good.
Yeah.
But so cats, so cats.
That's good.
like
So
that's a revelation.
it is.
You know.
So
Yeah.
that's what I was doing to survive in Taiwan for
Yeah.
6.5 months. I was tutoring, teaching English. I was as an English teacher, dude. I was fucking the Jack Black of teaching, but it was like School of Hip Hop instead of School of Rock. Okay, I was the Filipino Jack Black up in there teaching these kids through hip hop. It was hilarious. It was like from 4-year-olds up to 8-year-olds. I was teaching these kids how to have flavor. I remember in one of the curriculums, I had to teach them the difference between this or that. So obviously I'm like, okay, Black Sheep, let's go. Engine number 9, start up. Boom. I had the kids going, you can get with this, you can get with that. You can get with this, you can get with that. It was so cute. I got videos of it. I'd be like, all right, kids, what's the sound of the letter B? And they're like, buh. I'm like, yeah, okay, now put your gun fingers in the air and let me hear you say, buh, 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 buh. Right? I'll be like, all right, now what's the sound of a horde C? They'd be like, kuh, kuh. I'm like, yeah, kuh. Now hold up your C's, kuh. Yeah, kuh. Let me hear you go, kuh, 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 kuh. And I just start doing these little crit walk dances and shit with my C's up with that horde C, kuh. Right? Turning them into a bunch of little gangsters. It was so funny.
And so I understand you're taking all this experience and you're putting together a one-man show.
I'm putting together a one-man show this June around my birthday, my 35th birthday. It's going to be called, right now, I like Fuck You, Taipei Me. That's the one I like most. Some people are like, yo, why don't you do Top Paid in Full?
That's pretty good too.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Right?
That's really good.
Fuck You, Taipei Me, Paid in Full. There was one more. But those 2 are the front runners right now.
Okay. And do you already have a venue in mind? Where is this?
Originally, I was looking at Theater Pass Mirai. But it's not going to be your average stand-up thing. It's going to be like, I like how Hassan Minaj in his last Netflix special incorporated a lot of visuals in the background. I want there to be a lot of multimedia. I want to incorporate the videos. I have videos of me getting arrested. Like, I had the foresight to hold my phone and turn off the screen, but have everything on record while I was freaking shackled as I was, like, fingerprinting myself, holding my phone while I'm getting my freaking mugshot taken.
It's crazy.
While I'm getting, like, there's shots of my bare feet with the shackles around my feet. I got all this crazy video.
It's nuts.
From my phone, from within jail, like the jail meals that I was given.
Wow.
Like, they let me
What
keep
do they
my
serve
phone.
you? What do they?
Well, it was pretty. I was surprised. They gave me some like processed Taiwanese charcuterie, some rice, some bamboo shoots, some snow pea leaves, and it was all in like a small
sounds
little
pretty
box.
good.
Some fried chicken.
Wow.
I was
This place
like,
is the best.
I can't believe this. This is what you guys are hooking me up with. So, yeah, it was honestly a really, really crazy experience. Everything turned out because, like, if I was on my way to the Philippines where the president was killing people over like the smallest amount of drugs.
Yeah.
So if that happened in the Philippines, I would have been dead. So everything has a silver lining. Yeah. There we go. It's my life.
So just wrapping up here, if you could pair a specific album, let's say Illmatic, with your own signature dish, something that you just off the fly?
For Nas Illmatic, like a chopped cheese sandwich from a corner bodega. And not even deconstructed, served as is, the same way they would serve it. I don't want that shit pretty. It's got to look like a dirty ass sloppy Joe wrapped up in some wax paper. Boom. A 40 OE in a champagne glass. And a big New York slice. See, I'm not like, I don't care for extravagance and making shit look more than what they really are.
Yeah, I agree.
I know people are supposed to, like, you know, you eat with your nose first when you smell it, then you eat with your eyes after you see it, and then you eat with your mouth after you taste it. But for me, it's like, if you're trying to present something all pretty to take away, because, you know, to make up for the lack of flavor, I don't want it. Give me that shit ugly, like my face when I sing, because I know that shit's gonna have mad soul. You know what I mean? So, okay, so back to what we're going. So for Nas, it would be a 40 OE poured into a champagne glass, a chopped cheese sandwich in wax paper, and a New York pepperoni slice. Boom, Nas Illmatic.
Perfect.
All right. And for dessert, maybe just like a bottle of Yoo-Hoo. That's real quick, just to wash everything down.
All right, man. Thanks to Big Norm for being on the show this week.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
Check out his website. We'll put up the link and his videos and
TheBigNormShow.com.
BigNormShow.com. Also, where can people find you around town performing?
Catch me at the Corner Comedy Club, Queen and John. Catch me at the Comedy Bar. Catch me at a bar near you, wherever, at a venue near you. Look up my 420 events, or if you want to come to my 420 events, hit me up at The Big Norm Show. DM me, slide into my DMs like Ricky Henderson into second base.
All right, thank you, man.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for having me.
You've been listening to episode 36 of This Broken Mixtape, featuring stand-up comedian, singer-songwriter, TV host, and chef, Normal Consul, aka Big Norm. If you'd like to hear more, check out thisbrokenmixtape.com to listen to this episode's Spotify playlist and all of our other past interviews. Also, if you'd be so kind, share and rate our podcast, which currently can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Come join us next week, where our special guest is Record Store Day communications manager and musician Priya Panda. Thanks again for listening. We really appreciate it, and come back to check us out again next week. Cheers.